Hey guys. Hi Lucas, thank you. I'm Kasey. Oh, oopsies.
I'm Rachel.
And we're going to be presenting So You Want to Be E-Board. This is a remake of former President Shannon's video when we had way less e-board positions and like when the club was first starting. So what is e-board? E-board is executive board or elected board. Nobody ever tells me what it means. It's just members of the club who help run the events, help organize everything that you members get to do, help approve things that the members get to do, and kind of like promote the club so we can get more members, which is great. We run things behind the scenes. We're the faces of club. We attend so many events. Sometimes we're Discord mods. I'm not. I don't really know how Discord works. And then we support members' ideas. So this could be like when people submit interest group ideas, we help them write like a proof of concept, and then they submit it, and we review it to make sure it's a good like interest group. And then we help fund projects, help buy things for club members that they need, help buy merch, things like that. So this is my role. I'm the president. Super exciting. I'm the main point of contact for the club. So if anybody at RIT is like, I want to get in touch with RITSEC. They're like, Dear Kasey Kiggins, because they go to our website and they see I'm the president. Any alumni want to reach out, typically they reach out to me. And if any like external organizations like want to talk, they're like, can I talk to the president of RITSEC? And it's like, oh, it's me, that's cool. I'm in charge of alumni relations, so anytime we want to invite alumni to events, if you guys went to ShmooCon, the whole like alumni event was kind of organized between me and the department, and then also like reaching out to the RIT DC alumni office to help them to like fix up that event. Which is cool. And then like anytime when they come here, so reaching out to them. Also, like if they have, if we have like alumni connections at certain companies, sometimes I'll message them from like them being in the Discord. Some like good things with that are like Zach Allen from like Datadog, where we have our Datadog sponsorship. I'm also an advocate for the club to the department. So anytime we want to do things like here at RIT, like at these conference rooms, and like B-Sides is here, I'm like, hey, RITSEC always has this conference room. You shouldn't kick us out. And then they don't, and it's great. Or if like things are happening like, oh, we want to get a new thing for the club room, a couch. And the department is like, oh, yeah, maybe. That's like me being like, pretty please, let us buy the couch. Cool. And other things like that. And then I also help run all the RITSEC events that are like sort of like socially type things. So Letchworth, I plan that with some help from other e-board members, the barbecues, and then like I said, like conferences. So like ShmooCon was a lot of work from me and the treasurer.
So, as vice president, you're in charge of all of the in-house events. The vice president role was created during Brad and Max's presidency or vice presidency in, I think it was 2022, 2022 to 2023 year. And the goal of the vice president, like establishing that role, is to help out the president. The president has a lot to do. So having the vice president role is like a person that they can check up on and ask for help was established for that reason. So all of these in-house events, including Town Hall, Brick City, Imagine RIT, other events like that, and then e-board management. So vice president checks in on e-board members, usually one-on-ones, to see if how they're doing or if they need assistance. One thing to be mindful of is that the club elected these people for these roles for a reason because they think they can do them. So if they don't need help, there is no need to micromanage. So also, on top of having one-on-one check-ins with e-board members, they are also checking in on a-board members as well, mostly with the web admin, and then other miscellaneous tasks that pop up throughout the year. Okay, so the next one, so as PR, your main job is to get sponsors and maintain those sponsors. The whole reason that we're able to do so many things as a club is because of our sponsors. On top of sponsors, inviting or organizing Career Fair Eve, this happens in the fall and in the spring of the year. And then just making sure that those sponsors are coming to your Career Fair Eve and letting the members know that it's happening when it is happening. On top of that, the sponsor newsletter, this goes out at least once a month, or
It will be going out whenever we have like big events. So at the beginning of each semester, and like as it gets close, it gets closer to like ISTS and IRSEC.
Mhm. Thank you. And then the last two things is just organizing merch. I know a couple other eBoard members were helping out with this, but the main thing is the RITSEC merch, and then ordering stickers, t-shirts, flags for those competitions that we have.
Head of Education. I was formerly head of education. Hi, Leah. So the head of education is in charge of the 12 to 1 slot of the general meeting. They're in charge of getting presenters, checking those presentations that the presenters are making, and making sure that we have really good education topics every week. They're one of like the big faces of clubs to the club for the new members. And then this year, the head of education also took on mentorship. So they're in charge of mentorship, calling for mentees, getting upperclassmen to run a mentorship group, and then having new members or current members apply to be in that mentorship group, sorting out all of those teams, and then making sure they're meeting with them. So doing like mentor check-ins, handling any problems that might be, oh, this mentee like doesn't show up, I don't know what to do, or my mentor has been canceling a lot, like I want to still participate in mentorship, what can I do to still participate, those types of things. They also advocate during e-board meetings if like a mentorship like needs money or anything like that, to like the treasurer to make sure that we can buy things for them if they need hardware or like specific licensing. And then they plan some mentorship events. We had like a Chick-fil-A mentorship event in the in the fall semester, and I think Leah's trying to cook up something right now. Maybe, I don't know. But those are their main things. We also have the head of research, which is in charge of the which is in charge of the 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. slot of the general meeting. Their biggest thing is getting presenters from all throughout the club, and even sometimes like alumni to come in and present, or maybe sponsors to come and present during general meetings. They do like a health check on like the research presentation. Is this a research presentation? Is it maybe more of like something that could be pushed to education? Maybe you need to workshop this a little bit more to make it a research presentation, those types of things. They're also in charge of the news. Will gives great news every week. Nobody clapped. Okay, Adam did. Yeah, they're in charge of giving news every week to the general meeting, which is really fun. They also handle like research needs whenever we're running low on research rewards, making sure that those get ordered by the treasurer, coming up with fun ideas. I forgot to put slide roulette on here, but they also run slide roulette, which is really big. And if you didn't see the announcement, slide roulette has a trophy now, which is great. And then in charge of getting blog posts, and then checking inventory for prizes and research.
Okay, so as treasurer, your main thing is to manage the RITSEC budget and making sure that we have money to allocate to things like competitions or events like the barbecue. So the receipts are due at the end of the month, and you are in charge of approving these purchases. And one of the main things is working with the department for managing the bank account that we have, and also working with the WESIS treasurer as well.
This photo is David and Dan, David our current treasurer and Dan LaChance, the tech lead. When we were getting couches, I was trying to find like a good treasurer picture, and honestly that's probably like the biggest thing the treasurer has done this year was get that new couch in the club room. It's not. I didn't have a picture of the right couch. That one was funny though. For secretary, this is anything administrative like / organizational, anything that like has to come out like at like a rhythmic time. The secretary kind of like does, which I am so thankful for. So the newsletters you guys get out every week, the stream videos, everything like that. They do the calendar. They reserve the meeting rooms for club. Always in the department talking to Melissa about room reservations. Lucas is a Discord mod, which is really great. Hopefully, that's not a requirement for secretary, but maybe it should be. They handle the meeting notes, which is really nice, sending those out every week, putting a fun little animal at the bottom, which is great. Very, very helpful. It's a very like time-based task. You kind of want to always have like the same routine, very specifics. Yeah. I can do it. Ops lead. You handle the ops team. That's John Arundel for us this year. You do recruitment for ops. So our ops team, for people who don't know, they handle like everything with the stack and OpenStack and RIT, SSO, and any of like the stuff you think we would run to help run the club, and they can kind of handle and manage that. So if you think of like our Discord bot OB, that's handled and managed by ops. You think of the stack, you think about some of the stuff that we use for competitions. All of those are handled by ops, and they have projects that they need people to work on. So the ops lead is in charge of making sure that when people apply, they're like qualified to be on the ops team. They delegate tasks to ops members. So like I said, the Discord bot OB is one of them that's delegated to Lucas, I believe. And that's one of them. Also, like whenever we get new parts for the stack, like new storage, like implementing and like getting some people to come and help them put the new storage or servers or whatever in the server room. They run OpsIG. So OpsIG, one of the interest groups, they help run that. They communicate with eBoard about what the stack needs and what the ops team needs. So this is very helpful as somebody who's not really equipped to deal with DevOps stuff. When the ops lead comes to eBoard and they're like, yeah, we need this, or we don't have a stack anymore. I'm like, okay, we're gonna order that. Or it would be way better if we had this. And then we work with the budget to try to get those things for the club. And then they also do junior ops lead process. So this isn't an elected position on eBoard. This is something that you apply for. You do like an interview process with. We have another position on eBoard like that. And you'll do like a process with, and then you'll go in and you'll get elected, and then it's kind of typically like a lead into the next year. So then at the end of the year, as your time as junior ops lead, eBoard will vote and be like, yes, I think this person is qualified to be the next ops lead, and then they'll go in. So it's sort of like a 2-year position.
So similar with ops lead, we have tech lead. This is also a position that you're not elected for, that you have to apply for. So every week, the tech lead writes the demos, and they work with the presenters to create those demos, but they are mainly in charge of writing those demos. So, and they also help develop the education curriculum. So they work with head of education and the presenters to get the demos in every week. And lastly, they also select the prizes. So the prizes are for the top 3 RITSEC members who have the highest scores for demos at the end of the school year.
They also have a junior. So Dan went through in the fall, had like a process for people to apply to become junior tech lead, and right now that's AB. So as long as eBoard likes him, we'll vote him in as the next tech lead for next year, and then AB will do a similar thing with another junior. ISTS, Competition Architect, or CA. Competition Architect comes in a couple of times because we have a couple of those. So they run ISTS. They're the mastermind, which was Drew's shirt for the event. They reach out about the logos to one of the alumni who does all the logos for us at RITSEC. They promote the event, or they reach out to other things, or they have other eBoard members. Hey, I know that you do this thing. Can you like reach out for our event and promote it across Golisano for people to help out? Sure, of course. They work with the PR to handle like merch, getting stickers ordered, getting flags ordered, getting t-shirts ordered, all of those things that come with the competition. They manage black teams, so they're going to pick black team leads, the people who run all of the little mini sets in the competition. So like Infra lead and Linux lead, Koth lead, things like that. They pick those and kind of run with all the leads. They manage black team, make sure that progress is moving along. They talk to our ops team to make sure that the stack isn't overheating or blowing up at any point. And they're there to help and fix things and make the competition actually run. They work with Red Team. For ISTS, our Red Team is a bunch of alumni. So they reach out to the head of the Red Team for the alumni, which is Halto, and they make sure that they're ready to come in. When Red Team can deploy, they set up and say like, hey, you're allowed to deploy this day. Hey, we need Red Team t-shirt sizes. They do all of that for Red Team, and they also communicate with Red Team if there's a problem. Like, hey, this is down, you're not able to deploy in this box, or hey, one of your tools is actually ruining the competition. Can you like take it down and maybe fix something? There's something wrong with it, and they communicate that. For the blue teams, they invite the blue team. So ISTS actually has like an invite list. So we invite schools to come here, or we have more of like a website where people can like apply to be invited to. And they're in charge of like making sure like picking the schools who can come if we have over the amount that we're hosting. And this year we hosted a qualifier to help determine that, which was great. and so much more. So they're in charge of the entire competition, and it's their job to make it happen. So if things are happening, they need to worry about it. I didn't put on here, but they're also in charge of like getting food and making sure that's ordered and getting allergies. So there's a lot of things that go into like this role that you might not think about just because it seems like a very technical role that's like very personable.
So like ISDS, we have the IRSEC competition architect, also known as the IRSEC CA. And this IRSEC CA is in charge of running IRSEC. So this happens in the fall, and they are responsible for reaching out about the logo, promoting the event, getting the merch, like the shirts, stickers, and flags. And they're in charge of selecting the black team leads and making sure that they are moving along with the process. If there's things that need to be fixed and other things like that. But unlike ISDS, IRSEC is all in-house. So our red team is our red team recruiting team, and then our blue team is 16 to 18 teams, depending on the size of the competition, all made up of RITSEC members. And lastly, with the CAs in this department, we have the CTF competition architect, and the CTF is actually happening in 2 hours, or T-minus an hour and something. But they are in charge of running the RITSEC CTF, and the RITSEC CTF usually happens in the spring of the school year, and they are in charge of organizing the whole like CTF. So picking leads for QAs, reviewing the challenges, infrastructures, picking those leads for that. Same thing for the other competitions, reaching out about the logo, selecting the prizes, and then lastly picking the date and getting that on CTF time. And I didn't list this on here, but also like getting the food and other things like that.
So how to be a good eBoard member. You now know about all the eBoard positions, but what does it mean to actually be an eBoard member? You gotta love the club. I go through a lot, everybody on eBoard goes through a lot, and we wouldn't be putting ourselves through this if it wasn't for our love of the club. You gotta always be hanging out, ready to help, ready and willing to help the club grow. A lot of people, like as an eBoard member, like showing up to club room or maybe just like talking about it, hanging out, always like just like hyping the club up, I would say. Recommendation, have good time management. That's really big. I, for one, don't have the greatest time management, and sometimes it hits me, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. You have a lot of things that you have to do, and you not only like have to do it on your time, you have to do it on other people who are on eBoard's time, so making sure that you're doing things in like a timely way while also juggling your life as a student. Leadership, since you're on eBoard, you're held to a higher standard. It's really important that you see yourself as, yes, you're a club member who's like trying to have fun with your friends, but also if there's something happening, like understanding that you are like the person of power in that situation, being like, hey guys, maybe we should talk about this. Maybe don't write that on the whiteboard, or maybe don't make a public repo named that. I don't know, and those types of things are really important.
Yeah. And lastly, at the end of the day, we are all humans who make mistakes. That's why we have erasers on our pencils. But remembering it's okay to make mistakes, but then owning up to them when you do.
Yeah, that's good. But Kasey and Rachel, why are we talking about eBoard? Hit the button. Oh. RITSEC elections are happening soon. Guys, that's crazy. So next, thank you. So next week, instead of having an eBoard meeting, we will be having a town hall. A town hall, if you do not know, it's when you, members of the club, get to come and ask us, members of eBoard, what we've done this semester and what we've done to improve the club, or maybe what we do as our position. And it's a great time to ask us questions about our positions, because at the same day, Wednesday, March 26th, around the time, 7:30 to 9 p.m. in the Golisano Atrium, 1400. Where we will be answering questions about our positions. We'll also be opening up eBoard nominations, where you can nominate people to be an eBoard member. If you are nominated, you can say no. You'll have like a week to submit nominations, a week to accept or deny your nominations, and then about a week to prepare for elections that happen here during the general meetings. It'll be a great time. We're also this year adding public survival guides. So every e-board member is writing sort of synopsis of what they've done in like a shortened way so you can have a better understanding than what's defined in our RITSEC Constitution and have a bunch of fun times. So come to the town hall. We might have snacks and ask us some fun questions if you're interested in e-board. Do you have any questions now? Woo. Okay. Oh, I think we have different ones. Maybe? I don't know. I think I know. I don't like mine. What's the best e-board position? Do you have one? I can say mine. Okay. So I think the president is the best e-board position. One, because I am the president, but also like you get so many like perks of being president. One, you're like, this is not a perk, but it kind of is. You go through like a whole year of like trying to like manage the largest academic club on campus and like also managing all of your classwork and like your friendships and everything. And it's really like a whirlwind, and it's a lot of work. But at the same time, when you come out of it, like all of the alumni understand like where I come from as like being president. So they're always just like, we know that you were president, you were a good president. Like, hey, do you need like help with like this company? Like you get a lot of like alumni connections through that, which is great. But also you get a lot of like leadership experience, which is really good. I know like when I go into interviews, they always like ask me what's it like being like the president of a club. And that's really helpful. And I think it's just like the best one because you get your hands in the little cookie jars. If like an e-board member needs help, sure, I'll go write that email. Sure, I'll go help with this. Sorry, John, I can't help you on ops. That's typically how it goes. One time I attended an ops meeting and I was literally just there to like talk about the money the club has, and that was great. So like those types of things, you get to like kind of experience all positions if other people need help, and you like feel really fulfilled as like throughout the semester as things go.
Honestly, I would say if you got the opportunity to be any one of the CAs, I was able to be the CTFCA last year, and I had a ton of fun. I got to learn a lot about myself, including time management, leadership, and just running a competition. And then at the end of the day, you learn so much, and you get to throw it on your resume or put a post on LinkedIn. So I think those are like one of the best.
Also, shout out head of education, so good too. I like that because I was head of education. Yes, Adam.
If I somehow got elected to be a keyboard member, and a couple weeks in, I was either like really overwhelmed, like I didn't have time for it, or didn't really seem like my thing, is there any way to like back out, or am I stuck with it?
Yeah. So the question. Oh. Yeah. So the question was like, oh, if I was elected as an e-board member and I got like a few weeks in and I realized like, oh, it's not really like my jam, or maybe my classes are really difficult. Is there any way to like back out of the position? And there totally is. There's no shame in that. E-board is like a thing, and it could be very like a lot of work if you're not prepared for it. We have had e-board members before say like, hey, like I don't think this position is working out. I like want to step down. And yes, it's really difficult in terms of like coming with yourself and being like, I signed up for this thing and I was elected and I like can't do it. But nobody on e-board is going to be mad at you for doing that. Obviously, we all want the best for yourself and your mental health and whatever you need. So if you look at the past 2 years, the RITSEC CA from 2 years ago was like, hey, I don't think I can keep doing this. It's really busy. It's really tiring. He stepped down. I'm still friends with him. He's great. I love him. He's much happier after he stepped down because he was just very busy. And we elected a new CTFCA, which ended up being Rachel, and that was really good. Same with head of research over the summer. They decided that e-board wasn't their thing. They stepped down, and we just hosted an impromptu election for head of research. There's obviously like, we don't want you to step down, but if you need to, we're not going to like force you to stay in your role. That's just like not fair. Anything else?
How much of e-board is having new ideas, and then how much of it is just like keeping the lights on?
So the question was, how much of e-board is new ideas and how much of it is keeping the lights on? Me as president, going into my presidency last year when I was elected, I didn't have a new idea to pitch to the club, like, I want this to change, or I want this, which is what a lot of people like tend to do with their elections. I was just like, I like what we have. We can improve what we have, and then I just want like more transparency above what e-board is doing to help out the members. And e-board meetings, yes, there are people who come in with new ideas, like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And then I feel like it's my role as president to kind of ground that in, like, how will this affect our members? Is this a good idea? Like, do we have the money to do that? And it's that sort of thing happening. So I will say, like, maybe every other e-board meeting we have like a new idea that's like struck, like, oh, we're going to do this year. And then it just like depends. Like this year we paid for ShmooCon housing, and that was a very long conversation that we had with e-board of like deciding like, hey, this is going to cost $12,000, and are we willing to pay the $12,000 and get our members out there? And that was a decision that took really like a lot of us, and then we were like, yeah, let's do it, that's fine. Same with like a couple other things that happened like a very similar way. Sometimes it's like a no. For the CTF this year, we thought about doing physical prizes to competing teams that aren't in RITSEC, like at other schools, and we realized that it was just too difficult to like send out the mailing and everything, but then we got sponsor donations of like token prizes or like subscription-based prizes, so that ended up working out better anyways. So that's like an idea that we shut down. Those types of things. There are, like I said, there are new ideas. I would say it's like, I don't know. A lot of it is keeping the lights on. I would say like 70% keeping the lights on, 30% new ideas.
Anything else?
Okay. Well, that's the end. Thanks for listening.